Randy, you didn't get much of a tan.
I wore a hat.
Did you?
Yeah, I was in Florida, but my skin doctor has said, wear a hat, wear a shirt. So yeah. So
Is your skin doctor, is his name Hannibal?
No, but I don't know if you can see it on the screen here, but I did have a little piece cut out a few years ago, and so anyway, and yeah, just if you have no hair, and I know you're working toward that, Teddy, and one day you'll be like me.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's something you have to be aware of, and so try to take care of business and wear a hat.
Yeah.
I'm not looking to get to be a world famous modeling. Whatever.
Yeah.
But no, enjoyed it. Randy Wooden, by the way, Goodwill Industries, Northwest North Carolina, professional center. We run our professional center here in Winston. So what does that mean? Well, it means we work with folks typically who, may be watching our show today. Folks that may have a degree, be in a leadership position, maybe a salaried role, small business owner, that kind of a thing. And if you're looking at maybe making a change, or if you're out of a job and you need to get back in the game, we're free. Happy to help. Been doing this for a very long time. Used to be a headhunter back, Teddy, and I shared this with somebody on LinkedIn, I don't know, a couple of weeks ago, that I was on doing the recruiting thing before not only LinkedIn, social media, but before we used computers and email.
What?
This was back in the fax days, doing faxes.
Did you use that type of typewriter?
We didn't even have a stinking typewriter. As a matter of fact, we had actually everything we did was on card. Was kind of like heavy cardboard, and you could fold it over almost like you could with a. If you're going to do a presentation and you stick the papers inside. Well, that's what we would stick the curly fax paper inside the fold over and make all our notes on the fold over and put that in the filing cabinet by our knees. And that's how we did our business back then. Smile and dial, man. That's what it was. So
filing cabinet. I'm trying to picture what that is, but I'll play with you on that one later. So, hey, those who don't know who Teddy Burriss is, I run a company called Burriss Consulting. We're LinkedIn sales navigators, strategists, trainers, and coaches. All we're after is to help people get more value out of using that business tool. We teach one-on-one coaching, mastermind groups. We have books and YouTube channels all over the place full of content that we love to produce to help people get better results out of this. But every Monday and every Wednesday, Randy and I get together just to to help you. And that's why we're here. So we'll tell stories, we'll have a tip, and we'll tell you about who our special guest is for this Wednesday show. So, Randy, do you have a story that came out of your last week's adventures?
Well, yeah, and one of those things deals with, not to go into a totally long story, but the short of it is, given COVID and everything else, I didn't want to fly, right? I don't want to sit next to a coughing Teddy Burriss on both sides of my shoulders here. So I drove to Florida and drove back, and thankfully made it back safely. But I had a great time with my son, Matt, and his wife, Michelle, and their house. They are in downtown Tampa. And I'll tell you what, if you want to be able to walk to anything nearby, then they're right down. They are smack dab downtown. So really enjoyed the week, and it was nice to get away. It's also nice to come back too. Yeah. But I guess the story, and again, we've talked this the last 3 weeks, is being thankful, whether it's family, your health, your job, your faith, you name it. Just a myriad of things. And if you look for good things, you'll find them, even if you're having a really, really rough time. So I know Cyrus Bush was a guest a while back, and we talked about the whole idea of trying to stay on the front end, I'll call it, the good end of our emotions. And so that's a good bit of what I wanted to share with the story. Life is what we make of it, actually, and how we allow things that occur to affect our psyche.
And April's conversation, April Kelly was on last week, and the conversation about gratitude as power was really a good conversation. So go look for that video as well if you didn't or weren't able to show up on the show. So, hey, let me, Randy, I'm staying somewhat a kind of the same theme a little bit as we move out of the past the Thanksgiving holiday. But my story is listen to the stories your family shares. You know, I had so much fun getting to understand my 4 son-in-laws, getting to understand who they are and why they think the way they think and why they do the things they do. So I just asked lots of questions and got to understand where they came from and their successes and challenges before they became one of my stallions. That's what I call them, Randy.
Stallion.
Yeah. And it was really interesting to listen to them and to see them reminiscing about their childhood and their experiences in school and college and starting their jobs and, you know, sort of like, you know, got to, you know, go along with their journey because it sort of kind of mirrored what I did. And it's not like, you know, it wasn't like they were totally foreign to me, even though, you know, these are, you know, a bunch of guys that, you know, signed up to be my son-in-law, and I'm blessed to have them to be my son-in-laws, but to hear their stories was really interesting. So I hope that the rest of you had an opportunity to listen to people's stories and you get to understand them more as well. So a lot of fun to do. Some of those stories I can't repeat, but it was well worth hearing their stories. So let's talk about Wednesday, Randy.
Yeah, Sarah.
And this is your guess, man, because you're all over this space.
I am. So just stand back and let me babble. But Sara Rosinsky will join us all the way from Colorado. Sarah, I met through LinkedIn, as you have with many folks, and so have I. She has a book out. Actually, I bought the book and have read it. It's called Unflubbify Your Writing. Now, unflubbify is not a word, but I think we all know what it means, even though it's not an official word. She is a copywriter by trade and has been one for many years. And people who do that kind of work make their living with words, the written word. So my mom was an English teacher, and so as a result, I was brought up with proper grammar, proper writing, spelling, and I didn't get the slap on the wrist. You know, I didn't get that. But I was raised with what was proper. Let's put it that way. And in my role with our Goodwill Professional Center, I deal with professionals who you would hope and think and expect could do pretty well with their grammar and spelling and sentence structure and all of that stuff. And let's just say many times that doesn't exactly happen.
Yeah.
And I think people begin to look and judge us by the old commercial, by the words we use. But what's different with the written word is that you can take time to write it and review it to make it right.
Mm-hmm. Make it correct.
Correct. Exactly. Versus off the cuff, like we're doing right now. I say anything I want to, and they'll put a big X in front of my face and bleep me out. But the point being that whether it's an email, whether it's a report you're writing or filing, it's important to have proper grammar, proper spelling, to know the difference between it's and there and there, and all of those things. And she has a book out about that, which I love. Yeah. And so anyway, she'll be on, she'll talk about that, the grammar, the spelling, and all of us watching the show probably are professionals.
I try to be.
And nobody, including me and including Sarah, and she'll tell you this too, she's not a grammar Nazi. She's not somebody who's going to, the old ruler on the wrist kind of a thing. She does it in a fun, engaging way, and helps you to remember things by offering examples that you can kind of go, yeah, I get that. That makes sense. So I hope you'll join us. That'll be coming up on the 1st. Sara Rosinsky, she is a copywriter, and we all need to know how to speak, write, and spell.
That's show number 86, buddy. Man, keeps going. So good stuff. I'm looking forward. I've already reached out to Sara and said hi to her on LinkedIn and see some of her content. You're right. It is really good stuff. And to make us think about just doing it a little bit better, Teddy, just a little bit freaking better and stop being flubbified.
It makes it fun. And that's what I like, because the English language can be very complex for one, but if you're sitting in a class where they're diagramming sentences and here's the subject and the verb and it's on, nobody cares about that. They just, she makes it fun for people like you and me, so we can do better. And whether you're a job hunter or whether you're on the job and trying to present yourself in a good way, very important to have those skills. So got a quick tip for you.
All right, what's your tip, buddy?
It kind of sort of goes with what Sara's topic will be, and that's emails. The written word allows you to take time in an email to go back, review it. What is my tone? That kind of a thing. Is my sentence structure appropriate? My spelling, my grammar, and all that. So take the time to review, but a couple of tips, or at least certainly one is, two things anyway. One is don't put the to email address in there at the top right away, because if you hit send before you need to, it's going to go out and it's not finished. So complete your email, then fill in the to section at the top. So that would be a big thing. And the second one is a pet peeve, and Teddy, you see this, and I'm sure anybody in business sees this, and it's some doofus does a reply all, and it's sent out to like 100 people. And I'm getting all these stupid emails that I don't care about. All right. You reply to the sender. So be careful about that when you're doing a reply all. That is it appropriate? And if it is, great, but typically it isn't. And just be aware of that.
Hey, for those who want to hear a really good story about a major faux pas about reply all that they shouldn't have done, direct message me on LinkedIn or Facebook or Twitter and ask me, and I'll tell you the story, but I won't tell it publicly. Hey, here's my tip as we're getting ready to wrap up this today's segment.
Did I do that? Was that my mistake?
No, it wasn't you, buddy. It wasn't you. It was in another state. It wasn't, but it was a horrible story. Hey, here's my tip. So we all have this technology. We have cell phones and iPads and desktops, and we have, Alexas and Siris and, all this technology around us that, and even my car wants to update its operating system. Everything wants to update its operating system. The apps want to update. I'm all about staying, current with the latest and greatest versions. So I think it's important to do because they make these new versions so that they, they work with the new devices and, all that stuff. It's important to keep your stuff updated, keep your operating systems and your apps updated. However, on the bigger devices, like Randy and I talked about this earlier, my MacBook, that's my production machine, man. If that thing updates and foobars, is that a real word?
It is now.
It is now.
Sara, we'll check with Sara to see about that.
But I don't want my MacBook to go stupid because I update this, operating system to this newest one and my apps aren't working. So all I'm saying to you is this. I'm not telling you not to update. I'm telling you to be prepared when you do your update. Now, I'm the LinkedIn guy. I'm the Google Apps guy. I'm not the technology guy, but I'm saying this. Be real careful about your updates and make sure that you're prepared in the event that thing don't update cleanly. So,
the next step is, what does that mean? So we can cover that in another day.
Help!
I'm with you. Hey, Teddy, have a great week, by the way.
Right,
we'll catch you on Wednesday.
Wednesday at 11:55 a.m. Eastern Standard Time with Sara Rosinsky. And it's all about grammar and effective writing. So good seeing you, buddy. We'll talk soon.
Have a good time. Take care. See you.